Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to like and subscribe for a cooler role model next time you play. Maybe. Hey everybody, quick update on the Patreon. We are 76 patrons away from hitting our goal and bringing character sheets to the Patreon as another tier of rewards. So if you want those rewards, go over to the Patreon and help me out. Thank you very much. Today we're building Ahsoka Tano, who isn't a Jedi or a Sith despite using lightsabers. This makes her what's known in the extended universe as a baby bear, which gives some unique benefits: comfortable beds, cool chairs, and temperate porridge. This metaphor, of course, would make Anakin and Obi-Wan your parents. Happy Pride Month. Read some fanfics. Lord knows you're not getting any canon relationships unless you count those two anonymous rebels in the background of episode 9.
And let me see what you have. No!
Oh my God, why does he have
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need our super cool double-bladed style, but not like Maul's double-bladed style because you're nothing like that guy. He's a lightsaber wielder, not officially aligned with either side of the Force, red skin, and you're not that. Next, we need the Force, pushing, pulling, charming folks, but mostly mad hops and extra deflection. Finally, we'll make sure that our weapons are magically able to carve through droids and other metal things. We'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, just make sure that your dexterity and charisma are high. Dexterity will be number 1, your swords aren't long and you're nimble as hell. Charisma after that, they don't call you snips for nothing. Intelligence next, I've been going back and forth between this and charisma. You're just as smart as you are snippy. Heck, it's probably why you're so snippy. Follow that up with Constitution. You're one of the few survivors of Order 66. I kind of wanted this to be your second best stat as well, which is good because thanks to racial bonuses, it will be. Strength is a bit low. The Force will be doing most of the lifting for you and will drop Wisdom. You're even more YOLO prone than Anakin and kind of miss a major insight check on the guy. Not your strong suit. For race, you're an alien with red skin and a lot to prove. Since potatoes aren't a race, we'll go for Hobgoblin. Hobgoblins get +2 Constitution and +1 Intelligence, 60 feet of dark vision, and the saving face ability, meaning that when you fail an attack roll, ability check, or saving throw, you can give yourself a bonus to the roll equal to the number of allies within 30 feet of you once per short rest. You tend to fight better when you're in the company of the 501st. Speaking of, modify the soldier background for athletics and persuasion instead of intimidation because you're nice. You'll be intimidating anyway, we just can't get persuasion from our class. That class, of course, is fighter. Letting you grab 2 skills from the fighter list, acrobatics and intimidation would be my picks. Your nimbleness can be scary. For your fighting style, 2-weapon fighting lets you add your ability modifier to the damage of your offhand weapon attack. Remember, attacking with an offhand weapon uses your bonus action and generally doesn't get the ability modifier. Pro tip, if you want to be a 2-weapon fighter, get the 2-weapon fighting style. Really makes it work a lot better. You also get second wind, letting you heal 1d10 plus your fighter level as a bonus action once per short rest. The Force can heal. It would have been nice if someone used this in the prequel trilogy like more than a dozen times, but whatever. Second level fighters get action surge, letting you make another action in 1 turn once per short rest. Keep in mind, this is just an extra action, not an extra bonus action, so you're not getting another offhand weapon attack with this as well. You can also use this to dash, dodge, disengage, really anything you could do with your action, so if you're in over your head, this could be a solid defensive option as well. Third level fighters can choose a martial archetype, and the Psi Knight from a new Unearthed Arcana will work pretty great for a Jedi. You have psionic talent die, though cool people call it Psi die, which is a d6 that you can roll when you do certain things. If you roll a maximum number on the die, it's demoted by 1 level. So a 6 on a d6 turns it into a d4, and a 4 on a d4 turns it into a nothing. But if you roll a 1, it goes up 1 level, maxing it out wherever it started the day at. You can also recharge it to wherever it started at by taking a bonus action to still your mind once per long rest. But what can you do with it? Well, you could use Protective Field on you or another creature within 30 feet of you when they're attacked, reducing damage by your Psi die plus your intelligence modifier as a reaction. You can make a Psi-powered leap, letting you add 2 times the Psi die roll and your intelligence modifier in feet to a jump, either horizontal or vertically. Regardless of how much jumping this gives you, it only costs 1 feet of movement speed, so you could also use it to cheese some extra speed. Finally, a telekinetic strike lets you add a Psi die and force damage to an attack you make once per turn, which should help you deal with resistance to non-magical damage. Honestly, all of these are in character. Ahsoka's great at blocking, jumping, and slashing. Pick whatever's useful. 4th level fighters get an ability score improvement or a feat. The dual wielder feat lets you dual wield with weapons that aren't light as long as they're not 2-handed weapons. I'd recommend rapiers for you. They deal a d8 of piercing damage and are the highest damage option for finesse, but scimitar is probably more accurate. You slash more than you stab. It also gives you +1 to your AC while you're holding a weapon in each hand, and you can draw 2 weapons at once. Comparing this to Great Weapon Master or Sharpshooter, I think it's a little underpowered. I'd maybe make the AC buff buff half your proficiency bonus, so at level 20 it's +3, which I don't think is totally busted, but up to you. And your DM. Don't just try and sneak that past your DM, even if it's something Anakin and Ahsoka would fully try. 5th level fighters get an extra attack, letting you make 2 attacks instead of 1 with your action, 4 attacks with an action surge, and a 5th attack with your bonus action. Remember, the extra attack does not double your attacks with your bonus action as well, though that could be another way to buff dual weapon fighting. It would just be very busted at level 11. Anyway, you also get to bump your psi die up to a d8 as your powers of the Force begin to get a little bit stronger here. Speaking of Force powers, let's get some more by jumping over to Warlock really quickly as we make a pact. But you're not signing up with the Jedi Council, you're just signing up to use that weird mysterious force known as the Force. The Great Old One Warlock is for warlocks who make a deal with an extra-dimensional, horrible, indeterminate entity, and I feel like a bunch of bugs that live in people's blood would work for that. As a goo warlock, you have an awakened mind, letting you communicate with creatures within 30 feet of you as long as they understand at least one language. For your warlock cantrips, there's this little spell, maybe you've heard of it, it's called Eldritch Blast. It deals 1d10 force damage per beam, and at this level you can shoot 2 beams with your action. It'll get even more forcey in a second, but for now, scoop up Mage Hand, which lets you move objects within 30 feet of you that weigh 10 pounds or less with a floating spectral hand. This will save us some psi die rolls later. We don't want to accidentally lower that if we don't have to, so that we can spend it on extra damage or jumpy things. For first level spells, Charm Person forces a wisdom saving throw on a humanoid of 8 plus your proficiency bonus and charisma modifier, charming them for an hour if they fail. Is it still called Jedi Mind Trick if you're not a Jedi? I don't know. Expeditious Retreat lets you dash as bonus action for up to 10 minutes, depending on your concentration for some force dashing. Thank God, it's a neutral-based power. Second level warlocks can pick up Eldritch Invocations, letting you add some extra stuff to your Eldritch Blast attacks. Repelling Blast lets you push a target 10 feet back when you hit them with an Eldritch Blast beam, and Grasp of Hadar lets you pull a creature 10 feet closer to you once per turn with an Eldritch Blast. I don't know why there are more restrictions on pulling. Maybe it's because people who get close to you end up betraying the Republic and murdering a bunch of kids before blowing up a planet? Seems pretty specific to you, but maybe it's happened to other people. Third level warlocks get a Pact Boon, a little gift from the Force. How about a shiny gray lightsaber? Pact of the Blade lets you summon a weapon with an action, and it's magical in terms of overcoming resistances. I'd also swap out the Grasp of Hadar for improved Pact Weapon to add 1 to damage and attack rolls with your Pact Weapon, and you can use your Pact Weapon to cast spells so you don't have to worry about having your hands full. For this level spell, Hold Person lets you paralyze a humanoid that fails a wisdom saving throw, which would give you advantage on attack rolls against it, and you'll automatically crit if you want to hold someone still and hit it a lot. Back over to fighters. 6th level fighters get an ability score improvement. Let's get our dexterity up, because +2 to your main attacking method at level 8 is pretty bad, but also because Ahsoka jumps around like a red frog. God, I wish there were red frogs. Are there red frogs? Oh, sick, there are. 7th level Psi Knights get Telekinetic Adept, which gives you 2 abilities that we just spent 2 levels to get from other places. Psionic Thrust lets you force a strength save of 8 plus your intelligence modifier and proficiency bonus on a creature you've hit with a telekinetic strike, and push them 10 feet horizontally in any direction if they fail. I'd probably just use Eldritch Blast, but that's up to you. Telekinetic movement lets you move an object or willing creature of large or smaller 30 feet as an action, but it will automatically demote your psi die. It's nice to have control of larger objects, but for everything else, there's Mage Hand. 8th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Let's keep going with that dexterity. Capping it off is pretty important if you want to be one of the best lightsaberists around. 9th level fighters get Indomitable, letting you re-roll a failed saving throw once per long rest. You have enough tenacity to be in the prequels and the sequel era. The only other characters that are able to do that are Chewbacca, R2, and 3PO. 2 of those are droids, which are debatably not alive. I think they're alive. The movies don't. 10th level Psi Knights get Psi Enhanced Metabolism, giving you resistance to poison and psychic damage and immunity to the poisoned condition. This should help you deal with the dark side of the Force. Just because you're not totally down with the Jedi doesn't mean you want the Sith breaking your brain. 11th level fighters get another extra attack for 3 attacks per round, 6 attacks with your action surge, or 7 attacks with your offhand attack after your action surge if you really need to open up every can of whoop-ass in the galaxy. Your psi die also bumps up to a D10, which makes it very unlikely to run out quickly, with a 10% chance you knock it down, then a 12% chance to bring it back up or drop it down, and a 16% chance, then a 25% chance, and then hey, you can still reset it once per long rest. Don't be shy about using it. 12th level fighters get another ability score improvement or a feat. Since our dexterity is odd, let's round it up with the Resilient feat, which will give us +1 to the dexterity score and proficiency with dexterity saving throws, so explosions and falling buildings aren't something you need to worry about. 13th level fighters get another use of Indomitable. I always think it's good to note that the saving throw you reroll can be a death saving throw. Lord knows I'm attached to Ahsoka, and I'd like to see her in The Mandalorian. Heck, I wouldn't mind seeing her in Brooklyn Nine-Nine, though I don't really know how that would work. 14th level fighters get another ability score improvement. Let's bump up the charisma for better force pushes and pulls. You're pretty good at the whole using the force thing. 15th level Psi Knights get Bulwark of the Force, letting you protect yourself and your allies with the power of the Force. It gives creatures of your choice the benefits of half cover for a minute, which means +2 to AC and dexterity saving throws. You can only give this to a number of creatures equal to your intelligence modifier, which at the moment is 2. So Sky Guy and Snips to the rescue. Sorry, Rex, maybe next time. No, not maybe next time, definitely next time. Rex deserves it. 16th level fighters get our last ability score improvement, buff your intelligence, because Rex deserves the buff too. He's a good guy. Our capstone is the 17th level of fighter for a 3rd use of Indomitable and a 2nd use of Action Surge to go super hard 2 rounds in a row. Hopefully things are calmed down after that. Your side die also bumps up to a D12 for maximum psychic power. Here's to hoping you roll a bunch of 11s. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, side die are fun, and with a capped off die, it's probably going to be hanging out for a while, letting you jump, slash, and defend your squad with incredible skill. Speaking of defense, with your bulwark up, your AC is 20, and you can reduce damage with the side eye against anything that does get through. Finally, you got a lot of attacks and a magical weapon for most of them, because every attack you make with the action is the packed weapon, and the offhand weapon isn't technically magical, but you can add the side eye to that one for the force damage, so it would actually get through defenses. I know it sounds silly to have a weapon in each hand and swing your right hand 6 more times than your left one, but for raw, that's how it works. Talk to your DM, maybe they'll give you a magical weapon. For weaknesses, it sure would be nice to cap your intelligence modifier or your charisma. If we went for a war magic wizard, that would be really nice for the intelligence modifier, but we wouldn't get the push or pull with the Eldritch Blast or the packed weapon, basically requiring you to get magic weapon for that instead, but that uses somatic components, and then we'd need a feat to actually cast it while holding 2 weapons. It's a whole thing. Also, it only works on 1 weapon, so it wouldn't really work great for both of them. Still though, you're basically dipping levels to get abilities you already get worse versions of from Psi Knight. So if you want a power build, just go for 20 levels of fighter to get extra attack and an ability score to cap off your intelligence, then use telekinesis, which is pretty darn fun. Finally, dual wielding is just kind of troublesome as a Gish. We could have had a different invocation if we had just stuck to dueling and more consistent damage modifier with that fighting style. But that isn't your style. Maybe we'll make Coyote Monday someday or something, but Snips has to have lightsaber snippers. Whirl your swords around, defend the 5-0 first, and wait for this whole Clone War thing to blow over. Just check up on your master every now and then. He might not be as cool as you are with the whole not having the rank of master thing. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Join the Patreon to help support the channel and get more content coming out. And sub to 2Lock and Mango for more 2Lock fun.